For many millennia, people have been fascinated by the demigod Gilgamesh. If you have glossed over the epic poem written in Akkadian by Sinlekiunini, that is the Epic of Gilgamesh you're probably familiar with, the exploits of this legendary king of the Sumerian city-state of Uruk, which is located in present-day Iraq. As much as we know what this fabled king did in ancient Mesopotamian mythology, the mystery surrounding this figure has continued on following his death. Well, that was until about 20 years ago when the tomb of this legendary king was discovered. In today's video, we'll be taking a journey through the excavation site of this ancient tomb to uncover the mystery of this ancient king and whether or not this is truly his resting place, and we shall take a look at those who may have wanted to exploit this exalted ground over the years. Our journey began at the cusp of the 21st century when a German archaeologist named George Fassbinder led an expedition to discover the ancient city of Uruk in modern-day Iraq. There, the team came across what they believed to be the tomb of the hero of this video, Gilgamesh. Using modern technology to analyze the soil and create a magnetogram, the group was encouraged when this analysis resulted in the revelation of the architectural plans of the ancient city. It's following this revelation of the layout of the city that Fassbinder and his team came across the remains of a building that could potentially be Gilgamesh's tomb, which lay within the Euphrates River. The reason this building was considered to be the tomb of this ancient king was because it matched the description of Gilgamesh's tomb from the Epic of Gilgamesh. Despite these encouraging signs, Fassbinder still wasn't sure that this was the actual tomb of Gilgamesh. That being said, this doesn't do any damage to the authenticity of the existence of this great ancient king, although some of his lore is tough to digest, such as the fact he was considered to be 5 meters tall. For example, he's considered to be a real figure, so much so that he's considered to be the 5th ruler of the first dynasty of the city of Uruk. Following a life of adventure and great feats, he was considered to be a demigod, and even in death he was still an important figure. According to ancient Mesopotamian lore, he was a judge of the dead in the underworld upon the event of his death. It will come as no surprise that the tale of such an important figure has been passed down from generation to generation. Even till today, he's been the subject of a plethora of literary works, and as Fassbinder and his team showed us, he's still the subject of a ton of archaeological research and expeditions. Dating back to about 2100 BC, the Epic of Gilgamesh is one of the oldest pieces of work in human history. It's also one of the most important documents that has helped these aforementioned archaeological expeditions. The clay tablets on which this literary work is inscribed on tells us that the great king was buried under the Euphrates River in a tomb that was built when the waters of the river parted following the event of his death. Following the previously mentioned analysis of the soil and the creation of a magnetogram which helped them create a digital map of the ancient city, they actually came across houses, gardens, and an advanced system of canals that were detailed in the epic poem. This gave us the view that the ancient city, which seemed to resemble an oasis in the desert, was home to a highly developed civilization. Following the purported discovery of the tomb of Gilgamesh, it might provide more light to this figure if we take a look at the circumstances of his demise. Following his birth by his divine mother, the Mesopotamian goddess known as Ninsun, and her husband, the deified king Lugalbanda, Gilgamesh's legendary life eventually came to an end due to illness. As he waited for the cold hands of death to claim him, his destiny was revealed in a fever dream. Upon the day when he finally stopped drawing breath, he was to become the lord of the underworld. Following said death, he was buried in the tomb described in the epic poem. The poem also tells us about the offering made to several deities and other priestly functionaries. Excited about this discovery, Fassbinder and his crew were eager to unlock the secrets of the past. Unfortunately, their expedition was brought to an abrupt end following the advent of the war on Iraq. As the US, their allies, and their troops set off to find Osama bin Laden in Iraq, Fassbinder and his men were forced to flee from the Middle Eastern country, and as a result, the mysteries of the supposed ancient tomb still remain shrouded in uncertainty. Well, at least until recently. The drying up of the Euphrates River has brought hope to those looking to learn more about the secrets of Gilgamesh's tomb. which would inadvertently give us more information about the history of mankind as a whole. Unfortunately, as much as we may want to explore the tomb and other historical places that can be found in Iraq, most of these places are in what we may consider to be war zones. For example, an area that's believed to be the Garden of Eden is found within one of these war zones. As such, exploration is out of the question for those looking to unlock the truth of the past, or so we may think. Although many do not have the ability or the guts to go exploring in such dangerous places, it appears that the United States of America may have traversed into these dangerous regions. To be honest, this should come as no surprise because their activities did lead to the area becoming a no-go zone. Well, them and the cruel assaults on their country by Osama bin Laden. Nonetheless, it seems that apart from warring with these people, the US had time to unlock the secrets of Gilgamesh's tomb when they weren't fervently searching for oil. How do we know this? Well, a screenshot from the email of the US State Department was found, and this email detailed a request for documents which related to the Gilgamesh resurrection chamber along with the burial site of the buried Nephilim. What must be noted is that the existence of these controversial emails are dubious at best, as we have no way of ascertaining the sender or the receiver of said emails. There are even assertions that these emails are cryptic messages that use the terms Gilgamesh and the Nephilim as code for something the communicators are trying to hide. Nonetheless, although the term Nephilim may be unclear in this context, what we do know is the Nephilim are a mythical race of giants that have pervaded the pages of history and scripture from the beginning of time. The term Nephilim is a derivation of the Hebrew word naphal, which means to fall or fallen. While some believe that they might have been a group of angels that rebelled against God, others believe that these Nephilim are not the angels themselves, but their savage and unruly offspring that were born as a result of copulation between angels and human women. In some other accounts, such as which can be found in the book of Genesis, the Nephilim are referred to as mighty men of who were of old, men who became famous. As you can see, although their true origin is still unknown and their existence is still in debate, we're certain that Nephilim were a powerful race of supernatural beings. What is interesting about the aforementioned emails when talking about the Nephilim is that it seems that the US may be attempting to recreate these fearsome beings. However, this is unlikely as the actual existence of the Nephilim is as confirmed as the resting place of Gilgamesh, the great ancient king. In conclusion, while we may have a clue as to where Gilgamesh's tomb may lie, what we cannot truly say is that we can unearth this resting king from the Euphrates River. Until the conflict in Iraq truly comes to an end, we can only speculate that Fassbinder and his team may have actually found Gilgamesh's tomb. Maybe then we can learn more about the history of this king and his people, and maybe, just maybe, the US may have their Nephilim in the bag. As always, if you have any questions or comments about the topic, feel free to leave them in the comments section below. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more informative content just like this. Thank you, and we'll see you in the next video.